Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Thursday, 27th June 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group, calls for the region to be promoted as a single tourist destination renewed. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Calls for the region to be marketed as a single tourism destination have been revived. This comes in the wake of the annual Caribbean Tourism Market that was held in New York. More in this DBS news item.
Government Senator Gideon Ferdinand attended the annual Caribbean Tourism Market. This event brings a number of stakeholders together to discuss collective approaches towards destination marketing. Coming out of this event, he says despite each Caribbean country being unique in its own way, it is necessary for countries to come together and market the entire region as a tourist destination.
While we can differentiate in terms of what each country presents, but we can find common ground and market as a collective what the other destinations offer. I think that this is the way we should go forward. I think our marketing people are very pleased with the outcome, and I think the more people who come to the region, we want to be able to have visitors who enter one island having the desire to visit multiple islands.
However, he acknowledges that the current issue with regional travel would be a hindrance to tourists who would want to island hop. However, he says solutions to these issues are still being explored.
But now that LIAT is not operating, we can see the consequence. In the region, we believe that regional airlift is very critical. Look, we have Carnival coming up, St. Lucia Carnival. I mean, people from St. Vincent, Trinidad, everywhere want to be here. And it could be a very big hassle in terms of travel. But we have made some strides. You've heard of Winair. We just launched Sunrise Airways and a number of other initiatives. We also have been exploring the route underwater. Using the maritime space.
Caribbean Tourism Market 2024 was hosted by the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, in New York City from Sunday 16th to Friday 21st June 2024. For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoot reporting.
Caribbean islands, meantime, advised to prepare for hurricanes. Ramado Lyons of TVJ News reports.
A big city with many issues on the table, but one of great importance to the Caribbean Tourism Organization is preparation. But preparation for what?
It is hurricane season. It's that time for you to be prepared, and if you're not prepared, now is the time to do so.
Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, Kenneth Bryan, stresses that when Caribbean countries are affected by severe weather systems, their tourism products are affected as well.
When the Lord says he's going to send a storm, there's nothing you or I can do about it. But we can prepare for it and be ready to recover from it quickly.
And ultimately, preventing stories like these.
Discovering more bodies in flooded homes and streets.
First responders rescuing more than 1,000 people. Ruben Ramos and his mother Onelia waiting 7 hours to be saved.
3 weeks into the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, experts forecast one of the most active seasons on record. 25 named storms and 12 hurricanes are predicted. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says knowing how to respond to systems
will go a long way to help to mitigate the impact. It will not eliminate it, but it definitely will help to mitigate.
Jamaica's National Disaster Fund now stands at more than $550 million. The region's agriculture sector is also in jeopardy, St. Lucia questions.
We are also farmers. How does that, if you will, affect planting and growing some of the things we eat?
These times are totally different than past times. So I encourage us not to be lackadaisical, as we would say in the Caribbean.
The United Nations Development Programme says the Caribbean is 7 times more likely to be hit by natural disasters. Mr. Bryan says preparation goes beyond governments. Personal security, he says, is necessary.
Supplies, checking your insurance policies for your homes, making sure your property is ready, and monitor systems, because they can change at the drop of a hat. And once we do these things and you work with your local community partners and your government.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
From 2018 to date, a total of 56 weapons and 5,844 rounds of ammunition have been detected through Trinidad and Tobago's legal ports of entry. TTT's Sunil Lala reports.
According to National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines, from 2018 to date, at least 10 persons have been arrested for firearms and 29 for ammunition that came through this country's legal ports of entry. In 2021 alone, 37 weapons were detected, while 2023 saw the most rounds of ammunition for the period, with 4,849 rounds. In total, for the period 2018 to date, 56 weapons were detected, along with just below 6,000 rounds of ammunition. Speaking in the Senate, Minister Hines said the infrastructure and resources may not be enough to detect all the illegal weapons coming through the ports, but said it continues to be a threat.
There are resources in place at our borders, and we continue to apply them to detect them at the ports, and if it passes there, to detect them otherwise. But we are quite clear as to the source, and we are also quite clear that our legal ports of entry are indeed a very threatening opportunity to...
He added that certain transit sheds which have been authorized by customs to assist in the smooth importation of goods have been caught in suspicious activity.
We were able to discover a tremendous amount of activity in those places, leading to the shutdown of 2, and we continue to pay particular attention to them.
And he admitted that there may be certain people involved in facilitating the illegal items into the country.
But it would not surprise me, because we have found across the spectrum of Trinidad and Tobago, all occupations, including the Customs and Excise Division, there are people who are sworn and paid to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but allow themselves to become dangers to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
And as for the detection of illegal firearms and ammunition by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service from 2018 to date, a total of 4,956 firearms were detected, with a massive 104,737 rounds of ammunition seized. In 2020 alone, 37,697 ammunition was seized by the TTPS. But Mr. Hines argued that illegal guns are not the only issue.
We have had state firearms issued to law enforcement personnel that have been used in very severe criminal activity.
Sonolala, TTT News.
For the first time in 4 years, Trinidad and Tobago has been upgraded to Tier 2 status from Tier 2 watch list in the United States Department of State's 2024 Trafficking in Persons report published on Monday last. Keishan Haynes of CNC3 News has some details.
With increasing efforts from government to crack down on human trafficking, the 2024 U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report sees Trinidad and Tobago being upgraded to the second highest tier, Tier 2. TNT secured its first human trafficking conviction in November 2023. Anthony Smith, convicted of 5 counts of trafficking of a child, and was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment on each count. Now, the report notes that there was a 71% increase in the number of sex trafficking cases investigated and a 38% increase in initiated prosecutions of sex traffickers under the TIP Act. There was also a 93% increase in government spending on victim assistance. However, several concerns were also flagged by the report. Among the concerns mentioned were corruption and official complicity in tackling crimes by members of the National Security Services, including at more senior levels. The report deemed attempts to address those concerns as inadequate. The U.S. State Department's report found that transnational organized crime with links to large Latin American gangs may be becoming increasingly involved, with Trinidad as a regional hub. Not even Tobago is exempt, with traffickers reportedly moving victims to the island during tourist season. Another key finding is unaccompanied or separated Venezuelan children are at increased risk for trafficking. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines acknowledged the upgrade in the release on Monday afternoon, assuring that recommendations will be pursued. Recommendations include increasing efforts to investigate and prosecute officials and staff involved in trafficking. Keishan Haynes, CNC3 News.
Nevis's Premier, Mark Brantley, has reiterated his view that the Citizenship by Investment program, as it is currently operating, is unsustainable, and that the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis should begin looking at tapping into the wealth of current economic citizens. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline provides details.
Premier Brantley was asked about the future of the CBI at his latest press conference earlier this week, in light of revelations by the Prime Minister that there are over 50,000 St. Kitts Nevis economic citizens.
I do not believe that the Citizenship by Investment, in its current form, is sustainable. Yes, it has lasted since 1984. But for a very long time, St. Kitts Nevis had a monopoly, certainly in the Caribbean. We now have other players, Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica. We have other factors at work. The EU, for example, has become very hostile to such programs. In fact, just yesterday I saw a report, because there's an ongoing case, which I'm urging the media to follow, of the EU against Malta, going through the courts in Europe at the moment, because the EU is trying to shut down the program in Malta. Cyprus, as we know, has already closed down its program. That might have been due to other reasons, because that program was fraught with fraud and corruption, and so they shut it down. I feel, and if Mr. Huey were to have regard to my budget presentations of the last 2 years, especially my budget presentation in 2022, that is, December of 2022. I raised the concern then that St. Kitts and Nevis was too dependent on citizenship by investment. And I offered some suggestions to the government of Prime Minister Joe that we move with alacrity to diversify our economy.
The Premier said for the CBI to go to the next level, an agency should be created to interface directly with economic citizens.
Yes, CBI is going to continue to play a role, but since so much about it is outside our control, that we move with alacrity to reform. And this is what I recommended to him and to the nation, and I will do so now again. 1. Since we have over 50,000 economic citizens, they all have something in common. The vast majority of them are wealthy. Why not develop next door or in conjunction with our Citizenship by Investment unit, a bespoke agency whose sole responsibility is to engage with our economic citizens? Certainly the Citizenship by Investment unit already has all their details. They had to do extensive due diligence to get the passport in the first place. They know how to reach them, how to contact them. Why have we not formulated a plan to encourage those people to visit, to come, to invest.
Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew announced recently that a conference will be held next month targeting economic citizens, encouraging them to visit St. Kitts and Nevis with a view of investing in the country. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.